Uncertainty.
Romeo.
Kilo.
Family. Alpha.
Mike. Reflections. Juliet.
Oscar.
In this scene from Person of Interest, a confused John Reese answers a call on a payphone and is greeted with a set of voice clips.
Uncertainty.
Romeo.
Neither he nor the audience knows what to do with this information just yet. But to break down what's going on here, and in the show as a whole, we first have to learn a bit about show creator Jonathan Nolan, and how his lifelong awareness of technology has shaped his work. That awareness started while growing up in 1970s London during the Troubles. The Troubles was a violent 30-year conflict in Northern Ireland, between groups that had different viewpoints on separating from the United Kingdom. The British Army got involved, and it became their longest campaign ever. In response to the ongoing violence on the streets, the British government went to work setting up more street cameras so more people could be tracked in real time. He then moved to Chicago in the 1980s, where he found the surveillance presence in America to be scarce compared to where he just came from. But that entire narrative shifted after 9/11, when the US government signed the Patriot Act into law, giving it the power to collect and monitor people's private information and track any and all activity on the internet. Surveillance programs like PRISM expanded its ability to collect internet records, and devices like smartphones have made it easier than ever for people to be tracked.
Google has had for many, many years known far more about us than even it knows what to do with. It can see, because its core business is telepathy, basically. What do you want to buy? But you get all sorts of other information that comes out of that.
Through the movies he's written for his brother and the shows he's made for himself, Jonah, as he's known, has made his interest in the potential uses of tech and artificial intelligence clear. Whether that be Batman using a cell phone sonar network to track down the Joker in The Dark Knight, or NASA using box-shaped robot assistants in Interstellar. But in between writing movies and adapting Westworld for TV, he created Person of Interest, an original network show to show how AI and surveillance technology invade people's privacy on a daily basis. It followed the ex-CIA agent Reese, tech billionaire Harold Finch, and a team they formed to stop premeditated crimes in New York City from happening. But the real focal point of the show is the machine, an artificial superintelligence of Finch's creation that used cameras and online databases to provide the social security numbers or numbers of people in trouble. From the beginning, Nolan and his creative team wanted to give the machine as much complexity as they possibly could. This leads us back to the payphone scene, from the season 2 premiere, The Contingency. In the episode, Reese learns that the payphone messages are how Finch receives new numbers, something he learns after Finch is captured and can't give Reese the number himself. He finds that the individual clips represent titles and author initials from 3 books back at the team's base, which is a library owned by Finch, and combined,
Finch, you sly dog. The Dewey Decimal System. That's how the machine gives you the social security numbers.
The voice clips may sound random or pieced together,
Family. Alpha.
but in a Reddit AMA from 2011, Nolan revealed they're from a recordings archive called the CONET Project. The CONET Project recordings, released in 1997, are a collection of coded radio messages that were sent from intelligence agencies to deployed spies. Messages he repurposed to give the machine under-the-radar-like quality.
Kilo.
Thank you.
Much like Batman's sonar network,
This is too much power for one person.
the machine presented the ethical dilemma of spying on people for the greater good, something Nolan used Person of Interest to explore in depth. He approached that problem in a network TV-friendly format by taking inspiration from shows he watched growing up, most notably The X-Files, which he considers the benchmark for balancing standalone stories with a serialized narrative. From there, picking the show's setting was pretty easy. As of Person of Interest premiere in September 2011, there were 3,000 cameras in New York City's Lower Manhattan area alone, which coincided with a rapid decline in the city's payphones. These two trends lent themselves nicely to a world where the machine could collect and share information without being discovered. They also informed the way the show was presented. With a large number of cameras covering every square mile, any one of them could be used to transition from one scene to the next, and establish an overall point of view for the machine in the process. Nolan wanted to make the machine much different from the AIs he'd seen in TV and movies up to that point.
You're used to the kind of traditional portrayals of AI in movies, almost universally dystopian and negative. Skynet. Terminator's a fantastic movie. Westworld, all these explorations of kind of renegade AI. Fantastically done, but I hadn't really seen a version in which the AI was benevolent. And the question in terms of, well, what would that do? What if you were, working in conjunction with this massive mind that could steer you in the right direction?
To flesh the machine out, he created the Finch and Root characters. Finch is more or less the machine's father, teaching it right from wrong while openly voicing his reservations over building such a powerful system in the first place.
I'm not sure that we should have built it. I created recklessly, people died. Your machine, is it wonderful? Wonderful.
Root, meanwhile, is the machine's most loyal follower and believes that Finch should trust the system he built to make the right decisions.
No one designed us. We're just bad code. But the thing you built, it's perfect. Rational, beautiful, by design.
One of the restrictions Finch puts on the machine is the inability to provide any upfront information on a person of interest besides a social security number. Nolan got the idea from a 2010 book called The Watchers, which outlined an idea for a machine-like system from a former naval officer named John Poindexter. He theorized a system that could hide people's identities from intelligence analysts and show numerical codes instead. In doing so, people's privacy could be, at least at first, better protected, and that's something Nolan wanted Finch to value. In the back half of the show, he introduced a rival system that could push the machine and challenge its ideals.
You're always watching. I have a message for the machine and its agents.
Samaritan says hello.
Samaritan was established as the evil AI, a more familiar concept to general audiences. And with it, Person of Interest delved into how AI could get out of hand quickly if it was completely unrestricted. Right away, its flashy red and white interface and Decepticon-like sound design made it feel much more invasive compared to the machine. The machine, meanwhile, had a subtler blue interface and sounded more garbled and unassured. Nolan wanted to use the dueling systems to start a more nuanced conversation around artificial intelligence. As this show and later the movie Her demonstrated, AI doesn't always have to be evil. But at the same time, there's a silver lining to the show, watching the good guys beating the bad guys, considering the only reason there's any conflict at all is because both systems have access to any information they want. Some thought the concept of Person of Interest was initially a little far-fetched, but the revelations of Edward Snowden changed people's perceptions overnight. An episode that aired in May of 2012 called No Good Deed followed an NSA whistleblower named Henry Peck trying to expose the agency's mass surveillance activities.
The only way to be that accurate is with illegal surveillance on a massive scale.
Fast forward 16 months, when the world found out that Snowden leaked classified NSA information to the public.
The Snowden revelations were this sort of watershed moment where people realized, oh, we sort of dismissed this thing, where we were sort of quietly saying, no, this is very real, and we're trying to figure out what happens next.
But believe me, Mr. Peck, this is a mystery you do not want to solve.
Person of Interest allowed Nolan to tell a story years ahead of its time. Aided by his inspirations, he explored the different ways technology and surveillance impact our lives, and bucked the trends of network TV, and TV in general up to that point, in the process.
We had laid out from the beginning that this was going to be a show with stakes, where we weren't interested in doing the 400th episode, we weren't interested in doing the sort of spin it out forever. We wanted to tell a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end.
But above all, Person of Interest reminds us that every day, whether we like it or not,
You are being watched.